Hello ladies, gents, and everyones. It is Thursday, April 21st, and we're here to talk about this week's space and astronomy news. We ended last week with the scrub of the Artemis I wet dress rehearsal test, so what's next for the uncrewed lunar mission? We got a bunny sneezer. Well, during the test, they actually found out that there were some updates needed to the off-site gaseous nitrogen supplier. So while those are being done, they're going to take advantage of that and roll Artemis I back to the vehicle assembly building. This will allow teams to replace the faulty check valve in the upper stage cryogenic propulsion system and to repair the leak in the tail service mast umbilical. These delays mean the launch definitely won't be happening in May, and it's doubtful that the June window is going to be ready either. But maybe the window after that, June 29th to July 12th? Let's hope so! This Tuesday marked the 1-year anniversary of Ingenuity's historic first powered flight on another planet. Since then, the little helicopter has vastly exceeded expectations, completing 25 flights so far, the most recent being just 2 weeks ago. So far, Ginny has flown almost 6 kilometers with a total of 46.5 minutes of flight. It's reached a peak altitude of 12 meters and a peak ground speed of over 12 miles an hour. I'd say that's quite the successful technology demonstration. And of course, Ingenuity's big sibling, the Perseverance rover, is doing some pretty cool things itself, including just recently capturing the most zoomed-in, highest frame rate observation of a Martian solar eclipse ever. That's right, just like our moon can block light from the sun if it passes right through our line of sight, the Martian moon Phobos can do the same. Now, Phobos is smaller than our moon and it's irregularly shaped, not a sphere, so this looks a little different than solar eclipses you might have seen on Earth. Honestly, y'all, I've watched this like 20 times. It's amazing. All of us galactites are well aware that space debris is no joke. For example, this was recently an issue last November when Russia tested an ASAT missile, that's an anti-satellite missile, that created a large cloud of debris in low Earth orbit, including in the path of the International Space Station. And in fact, this week, US Vice President Kamala Harris announced that the US is actually going to be banning these types of direct descent ASAT tests that create these clouds of orbital debris. This is a self-imposed ban that applies only to the US, but Harris called on other nations to do the same for the sake of security and sustainability in space. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson called the move an important step and called on the rest of the world to join in. The commercial astronauts of the Ax-1 mission were expecting to be back on solid ground by now, but the weather had some other ideas. So the new schedule is to depart the ISS on Saturday evening for a Sunday splashdown. Now, until the Axiom-1 crew departs, the Crew-4 mission can't launch. This is because Dragon Endeavour is using the port that the Dragon Freedom will need to dock to, but also because teams would like to be able to review the data from the Axiom-1 splashdown and to stage things before the Crew-4 launch. So the earliest expected launch for Crew-4 now is April 26th, next Tuesday, but that could be pushed to Wednesday or Thursday depending on whether or not Mother Nature cooperates with the planned schedule for Axiom-1's splashdown. Speaking of NASA, there's lots of NASA this week. They're continuing on in the vein of commercial partnerships with their Communications Services project, which just announced 6 selections this week. The 6 companies are Inmarsat, Kuiper Government Solutions, that's Amazon's, SES Government Solutions, SpaceX, Viasat, Telesat. These 6 companies will begin developing near-Earth satellite communications that could be used to support future NASA missions. As with commercial cargo and commercial crew, NASA envisions that having near-Earth commercial SATCOM could provide lower costs, increased flexibility, and improved performance that can allow NASA to focus its time and resources on things like deep space exploration and science missions. The total value of these agreements is $278.5 million, and the companies are each expected to at least match that with their own funding. The technologies must be successfully demonstrated by 2025, and NASA expects to award service contracts by 2030. Remember last fall when we all got really excited about what the next post-Hubble, post-JWST big space telescope is going to be? Well, that was part of the 2020 Decadal survey on astronomy and astrophysics. At the time, some of you asked about the conspicuous absence of cool solar system missions. Well, that's because Planetary Science does their own Decadal survey, and the 2023 to 2032 Decadal survey for Planetary Science just dropped on Tuesday. Now, if you want more details, I'm planning to do a whole video on this next week. I mean, the report itself is almost 800 damn pages, but I will give you a really brief highlight right now. The number 1 priority for the next flagship mission was a mission to Uranus, and the number 2 priority was a mission to Saturn's moon Enceladus. Both prospects are really exciting and expensive. Now, in any case, these missions would be a very long way off, but for such kind of flagship missions, you really need to start planning now. The Decadal survey is an effort by the scientific community to provide recommendations to the funding agencies, basically NASA, about how to prioritize funding and planning for these big research missions. This means it's just a recommendation, it's not binding, but NASA takes these recommendations very seriously. So Uranus, here we come! Maybe. Well, that's all I have for you this week. I hope all of you fine galactites are having a wonderful day, and I will see you again next week. Bye!